cause I'm poppin'. This a layup, this a rebound, then it's driving. Tyson with the fade, not the air, my hands rockin'. When I link with ballpoint, you know it's knockin'. I'm not the same. Thinking money made me change, nothing else to blame. Bougie stuck up in my way, singing Gucci gang. Gucci, Gucci, Gucci gang, think I'm Gucci Mane. I'm just playing in the cut, I got my Vans on. I'm not selfish, I get on and put my mans on. Always greedy since the day I got my first eight. 5'7", but I'm 6'8" when I stand on the money pals, money pals, money pals. Need a money counter, I broke my thumb from thumbing down. Wifey on my line, she told me to dumb it down. Mama on my line, asking how I'm dumbing now. I think you only love me cause I'm poppin'. This a layup, this a rebound, then it's driving. Tyson with the fade, not the air, my hands rockin'. When I link with ballpoint, you know it's knockin'. Get out my way, I'm so unashamed. Throw it to my veins, like my 2K green or blue, I'm not into games. Focus on your player's face while I'm stacking change. We throw out what you got on your whole Kool-Aid. Every time I drop it, knock you make the school face. I can't stand to be around people who are two-faced. I can't stand to do some business if you're too late. I beat the beat or defeated, I beat the beat or mistreated, I beat the odds deleted. On top, I'm ODing. No rock star with these leather pants, I'm AC/DCing. When I die, I bet they love me, but hate me when I'm breathing. I think you only love me cause I'm poppin'. This a layup, this a rebound, that's rhyming. Tyson with the fade, not the hair, my hands rockin'. When I link with ballpoint, I think you only love me cause I'm poppin'. This a layup, this a rebound, then it's driving. Tyson with the fade, not the hair, my hands rockin'. When I link with ballpoint, you know it's knockin'.
The sky so far, but I can't lose it.
Fifth and final week of the Forza Spec Racing Series, season number 45. Let's do it.
It's Tuesday night, Forza Motorsport Spec Racing here live on Twitch TV. Let's get it going. AMS Storm now here on lap number 34 of 34, jumps into the top spot. And here comes Maverick now, going to make a run to the inside. Drex perhaps missing his mark.
Hello, race fans, and welcome to X-Venture Live on Twitch TV. Great to have you here on another Tuesday. Not any Tuesday, though. It is the fifth and final week of Season 45 here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, here in the Abarth 695. And while we've already crowned our champion here for the season, LS Subaru, plenty to race for. All the other drivers have their order on the leaderboard that they like to, that maybe they're aspiring to, that maybe they want to maintain and not let anybody else go ahead and leapfrog over them on the leaderboard. So it's not a waste of a race at all. It's going to be a fantastic night as we head out to Mount Panorama, Bathurst, for 39 laps around the track. There is no qualifying here tonight because for the finale, and they've been doing this for the last few seasons. It'll be in reverse grid order based on total points in the season thus far heading into week number 5. Speaking of points, let's go ahead and take a look at the leaderboard and see where everything stands at the moment. LS Subaru, who I mentioned, picks up the championship here in season 45 and is the first driver ever in Forza Spec Racing Series history to get 4 straight championships. Round of applause there to LS Subaru for making that piece of history happen. AMS Huracan not too far behind at 286, although just a little bit too much. I say not far behind, but far enough that he's out of championship reach. Kracher at 274, Drex at 246, 208 there for Cuda 93, Patches Rally 204, Mortismo at 197, nearing that 200-point mark. Fear the Fun at 195. Soul Motion Fire moves up into the top 10 following week number 4 action with 170 points. LS Unku, another LS driver on the grid, at 161. You've got the drivers off to the right. As is always the case, I encourage you, if you want to race here with the Forza Spec Racing Series crew, the very least you could do is make it a goal to try to be in the top 20. That way you show up on the leaderboard here on Tuesdays prior to the night's action. Head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4. That's where you'll find all the details. They currently just have Season 45 stuff up, but here in the coming days, that'll transition over to Season 46, so that way you can be in the know of all the things that you do need to know to be a racer in Season 46. I definitely encourage you to do so. Let's try to get a full grid, 23 drivers, if not for the entire season, at the very least, for week number 1. That would be awesome. And it doesn't matter how quick, how slow, or how in between of a driver you think you are. Come out here and have a good time. I know last week we saw, I'm gonna mess up the name, Kirokumo, I believe, was a new gamer tag out there on the grid, and you too can be out here racing with the FM4 crew, the guys, gals of FM4. Week in and week out, they will be on a 3-week hiatus here. Not really a hiatus, so to speak, but they'll be between seasons, which they do have some gap week activity, as they call it, which includes some fun races and then some preparation for Season 46. How did we get here? What brought us all this way out to Mount Panorama, Bathurst, the land down under? Well, started at Sonoma and Sebring, they're stateside. Then we went out to Belgium for Circuit de Spa, then Watkins Glen back in the States. Then we had a full week dedicated to Italy. Not only the tracks, but the car, the Bar 695, Mugello, and Autodromo Nazionale Monza, the trifecta there with the 2 tracks and the Italian car. Last week, we were out there at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, by far my favorite track, not only in Forza Motorsport 7, really just in motorsports altogether. And then Road America is where we concluded things with a very exciting race that came down, not to the wire, but came down to the last drops of fuel in quite a few of the drivers' fuel tanks. Several, I take that back, many had to go into pit lane. A few did not. We're going to see how many times, what's the least number of pit stops any one driver can take here tonight? That will be the question. After tonight, the Forza fun continues here on Xventure. No, it does not go away for the next 3 weeks. I'm going to keep it rolling, and I'm going to do so with Forza Horizon 5. I've tried to do this in the past, but because of some glitches, some time of day like glitches in the game, it prevented me from really having a good Forza-tography session. Well, guess what? The next 3 Tuesdays, you got me, the virtual camera, y'all in the chat, hanging out, relaxing, lounging, lurking, whichever you choose. And we'll be taking some photos, some glorious photos there in Forza Motorsport 5. I have no doubt we're going to get some good ones just because of the scenery alone. Like, you can almost point and click in that game and get a good shot. But I'll be sharing some tips and tricks. And, of course, I'm not the all-in-all expert of photography. If you've got any pointers for me, you'll be more than welcome to share with me right then and there. All right, so hi again. Dustin Moore here, Xventure Live on Twitch. I am coming up on, by the way, I think next season is my 18th season broadcasting the Forza Spec Racing Series. 18 seasons times 5 weeks over the last several years. What a blast, what a joy it's been. I've lived different places. I've been in the midst of different jobs, different, all kinds of different situations, and now here I am closing out season 45 with week number 5, and cannot be any more excited for what's to come here in season 46. And for the first time ever here on Xventure, and at the conclusion of a season heading into the next one, tonight I'm going to announce for you all, I'm going to reveal for you all what the vehicle for season 46 is going to be. All right, DWM Frog there in the chat says, looking forward to seeing the Forza Photographer show again. It has been a long time. I agree. The attempt that I had a few weeks ago, it was probably more like a month or two ago, sadly was abruptly ended once I realized that the time of day glitch still existed. I am most certain that has been fixed according to patch notes, and so I am pumped for that. I am super, super pumped for that. And then, of course, in 4 weeks' time from tonight, we'll be jumping into week number 1 of FM4 Season 46. I can't say it enough. I'm going to say it enough. I'm going to say it over and over again. I'm going to be the brokenest record you've ever heard. Brokenest. Be a participant in FM4, the Forza Spec Racing Series. The link is there in the chat. If anybody's joining just now and you don't see it there in the chat, there you go again, reddit.com/r/FM4. I promise you, if you're looking for league or community-based racing here in the Forza community, you really cannot go wrong here with FM4. Granted, if it doesn't fit your time slot, that's completely understandable, but really for anybody who does have the time here on a Tuesday evening, really just asking for 2 hours of your time to knock out 2 races each week. In the case of week number 5, like we have here tonight, it is a single race, a single endurance length race of 39 laps around Mount Panorama, as it so happens here this time around. 5 weeks, so 5 Tuesdays, and at the end, whoever has the most total points out of the top 4 weeks, or out of their top 4 weeks, the 5th being their drop week, that is the driver who is crowned a champion. And I put the call out there to anybody who thinks they have the ability to take down LS Subaru, to join FM4 here. We've got to put an end to this. We've got to. LS Subaru has made history by becoming the first driver to go back to back to back to back with championships in 4 straight seasons. That's enough. That's all the history making we need right now at this point. So, yeah, if you've got the Forza wherewithal, the Forza prowess, the skills, and the thrills to give us all the chills, come race in FM4. You'll have a good time. I almost guarantee it. I'll put my stamp of approval, my guarantee on there, and if you're not satisfied, come gripe to me, and I'll say I'm sorry, I lied to you. But I'm almost certain that will not be the case for you. You'll have a good time. Looking at the lobby, we've got Old Man, Baby Body, Patches, Riley, LS Barney, Onion with Too Many Eyes, Mortismo, Audrex, Krejci, Modern Weapon, SFM Darkster, LS Subaru. Our reigning champion is going to continue here in week number 5. That's good. We haven't had Subaru compete in a finale in I don't know, maybe never. And then Audrex, Kuda93, I see LS Barney, RZM Salty, Onion, and SFM Darkster. Already a couple of names out there that I can foresee as possibly having a chance to take down LS Subaru here tonight. Let's see if they can make it happen. 39 laps out at Mount Panorama, and because DWM Frog was the only subscriber to the channel to submit some name changes to a couple of the corners, not a couple, a trio of corners out here at Bathurst, Mount Panorama. Oh, here we go. Kick the tires, light the fires. Old Man Baby Body's not going to waste any time whatsoever getting this race underway. And so just like that, into Hell Corner, turn number 1. Old Man Baby Body, Modern Weapon, and Slow Motion Fire, leaving everybody else kind of in the dust. It is a long, long race. Divide69, welcome again to the chat. Great to see you back. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us here on a Tuesday. Hope your week is going well. Down the mountain straight into turn number 2. That's going to be Griffin's Bend. Up to turn number 3. And then our first subscriber takeover corner of the night. Turn number 4. You know it as the Cutting. But here this evening, we know it as Susie Q. DWM Frog naming that one. And again, we'll try it again here in season 46. We'll see if maybe we can't get it underway. I've got more subscribers. It's just the subscribers decided not to take part. I'm sure some of y'all would love to give me a fun or interesting name for me to rattle off here in the season 46 finale. So if you're a subscriber to the channel, you can make that possible. I'll put the form up next season, and you can pick a corner and give me your best and most appropriate name. We got to keep it within reason here, folks. Back down the hill now here out at Mount Panorama. It's not Mount Panorama for no reason. They got to the top, and now they make their way through the slalom on the way down. A little bit of a touch of the wall. There goes Old Man Baby Body through the S's, out of Skyline, the Dipper, and now coming up to turn number 18 for the Forest's Elbow. Forest Elbow. Can't complain yet, thankfully, says Device69. That's what we like to hear. And it looks like we've got a car that's maybe turned around and quite possibly severely damaged. That's going to be Patches Riley. And another vehicle was in the vicinity. That one seems to be a little bit better off, having driven off. And yes, Patches Riley, significant damage to the steering, engine, clutch, transmission. That's going to render or require a pit stop here very early on at the end of lap number 1. Let's go up to Mortismo, who is now trying to make a move on Slow Motion Fire for 4th position as they come out of the chase. Turn number 22 up to turn number 23, Murray's Corner, and then back over toward the start-finish line. Side by side goes Slow Motion Fire, Old Man Baby Body. Martismo gets around Old Man there at on the straightaway. Now into turn number 1 once again here, lap number 2 of 39. And as I look through the field, it is as such. Fear the Fun in P1, Modern Weapon in 2nd, Slow Motion Fire is 3rd, Old Man Baby Body in 4th, Mortismo is 5th, Kratrum in 6th, Kuda 93 in 7th, Subaru is 8th, Audrex in 9th, Barney is 10th. Then in 11th is SFM Darkser, RZM Salty in 12th, and it looks like Salty's in the pit lane. Onion with Too Many Eyes in 13th, also in the pit lane, and Patches Riley, who we saw there out of the in the vicinity of the Dipper, turn 14, turn 15, is going to be going into pit lane here as he approaches turn number 23. Let's go to Slow Motion Fire now, who finds himself in 3rd position. One day closer to the weekend, finding the positive, says Device. Aren't we all? Everybody's working for the weekend. All right, out of turn number 10, that's going to be Brave Everett. Brave Everett, turn number 10. Coming through Solomon Park. Now back into Skyline again. The Forza race regulations turned on, which removes those tire barriers. So fortunately for those drivers who maybe are a little bit late on the braking there into turn number 11, make that turn 12, which is kind of the right-left part of that S's. You can do so safely knowing that there's not a tire wall waiting for you. Is Huracan racing tonight, asked Devise. Unfortunately, no. Huracan is not racing. Huracan has shown up, well, I was going to say sporadically, but currently is 2nd overall on the leaderboard with 286 points. And now as they go down Conrad Straight into the chase, turn 20, 21, 22, back to 23. It's going to be out in 1st, Fear the Fun, Modern Weapon in 2nd, Kratrum in 3rd. Look at this grouping right here from 2nd on back to 5th as Fear the Fun has established himself quite the lead here very early on, already entering and preparing to exit turn number 1 before 3rd, 4th, 5th even have a chance to cross the start-finish line. Let's go ahead and ride on board here with Kuda 93. Kuda 93 in, what is that, 7th position? Let's get a view going up Mount Panorama here with Kuda. Out of turn 6, then into what is just a barely existent turn number 7. That would be Avery Grace coming up the hill toward Reed Park in turn number 8, nearing the top of Mount Panorama. And now they make their way back down again. Here comes Kuda 93. I got to say, my vote for best delivery here of season 45. Kuda, a little A little wonky on the entry there into 13-14. The Dipper able to course correct, and fortunately, if you get yourself right on the racing line here, you're going to have everybody else putting the brakes on. It's going to make it darn near impossible for them to make a pass if they're going full speed through the S's. They'll just kind of have to yield to you and try to make a run for it here on Conrad. Riding right up onto the back bumper there of Slow Motion Fire into turn number 20 on the back end of lap number 3. As always, my pleasure, me being Dustin Moore, to bring you the action here in the Forza Spec Racing Series as we close out what has been an exciting season, not just because of the competitiveness, that's always existed. That's always the thing here in FM4, but fuel situation, conservation of fuel. Oh, Kuda 93 gets the back end of the Abarth 695 out and is going to lose a few spots as a result. SFM Darks are now up to 6th position. Mortismo in 5th. Modern Weapon in 4th. Let's go to Modern Weapon there in 4th position. Chasing down Cratrum, who's in the Kirby car. Kirby scrapes the wall a little bit there, and I now know the inspiration for that livery. The new Kirby game that recently came out, I guess you can kind of... Kirby just like flops over the top of a car and you can drive Kirby around the map in the new Kirby game. I've seen that. So drawing inspiration from the latest and greatest, but what a lovely and very creative design it is there on the wrapped around the top portion of Cratrum's 695 as they go back out of turn number 10. Again, Brave Everett here. We've changed a few names on the track. Care of our subscribers. And getting turned around, that's going to be Modern Weapon. Slamming the door into the wall, and let's take a look at the vehicle situation there. Any damage? Fortunately, comes out of that one with nothing more than a broken windshield and maybe a few bumps, scrapes, and dents there on the body panels, but all the internals looking good. Let's go to LS Subaru now, who has moved his way up to 2nd position, our Season 45 champion. Make that Season 42, Season 43, Season 44, Season 45, back-to-back champion here. Nobody else has done it yet to date in the 45 seasons that have been FM4 underneath the Amaral Bridge, and now almost just kind of like a homing device closing in on Fear the Fun, who crosses the line for beginning of lap number 5 into Hell Corner. And following suit is Subaru. Let's go to Mortismo in 5th position, back behind SFM Darkser. It is SFM Darkser who has been inconsistent in the ability to race here throughout Season 45. Has been out for a couple of races. Had a rough go there in week number 1 with a, I believe it was an incident. That or a disconnect. One of the two. SFM Darkster's just had some rough times there in the Tide car. Back up the hill. Into turn 3, then 4. Susie Q. Beautiful sunny day, and either early or at the midpoint of the day here too. There is a kind of late afternoon sundown type skybox here for Bathurst. No opportunity for rain here in Forza Motorsport 7. So it's always a nice dry track, and I'm sure a lot of people are very thankful for that because of, well, this complex series of corners that you got coming up here. Mortismo and Kuda both going to go ahead and mow the grass there. Perhaps getting it ready for baseball, which is coming up here in a couple of days. I'm guessing that's not a... Guess it's not a popular thing, especially not on the side of Mal Panorama here. Cricket is what we'd be looking for out here, right? Cricket, rugby. Aussie rules football. Back on the Conrad. Mortismo, Kuda, Barney. Then you see back there in 8th and 9th, that will be Slow Motion Fire and Modern Weapon, respectively. Now we go back up to LS Subaru in second position, still in second position, but very much closing in on Fear the Fun, who is our race leader at this juncture. Let's take a look at the situation here for LS Subaru, and more specifically, the fuel situation. 58% remaining in the fuel tank here for LS Subaru. Just, well, 5 laps completed. This is the beginning of lap number 6. And so you do the math. You tell me, how many pit stops are we looking at? At the very least. At the very least. Kind of quiet there in the chat. I know Device69's in there. DWM Frog, Slow Motion Fire was in there. Who else do we got here on a Tuesday evening? Feel free to say hi. Then you can go back to lurking. I don't mind the lurking. I just like to do a pulse check every once in a while to make sure that the folks that are watching are alive and I haven't just put them to sleep, or worse. They're bots. 2 to 3 pit stops minimum, says Pushing Porsche. We miss seeing you out there on the track, Porsche. But maybe you said, you know what, one round here in season 45 is good enough, and then I'll be ready to go for season 46. Hear the fun in the Alitalia livery, going full Italian here in season 45. The Abarth 695 and the Italian Airlines wrap around that car. LS Subaru donning the team colors of red and black. Lightspeed Esports team. Pushing Porsche, 13 laps, Porsche, 13 laps of fuel if you drive all out. Okay. Nice intel there from Pushing Porsche in the chat. And here comes Fear the Fun now up over the bumps here of the Conrad Straight. Then you go downhill, really gathering some speed, and then it's up to you whether or not you want to go all out through turn number 20 as you enter the chase, because then you certainly throw the brakes on as we see the front discs glowing there on Fear the Fun's 695 underneath that Armor All bridge again, and into turn number 23 of 23. Lap 6 coming to a close. Catch me out there next season. Couldn't make it tonight, unfortunately, says Pushing Porsche. Good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm really hopeful. I'm going to do my darndest to spread the word. I hope maybe some of the drivers and you all here, if you've got some friends who are Forza fans, Forza racers, if you know of another community who would at least be interested in knowing what FM4 has to offer, please do send them on over to reddit.com/r/FM4. I really love it when we get a full grid, particularly in week number 1. That just really sets the stage for the remainder of the season. If that means that the remaining 4 weeks of that season aren't a full grid, so be it. But if we can get 23 drivers out there on the track for the beginning of week number 1 in season 46, I'll be so happy. If there's no other consolation apart from the fact that Dustin will be happy, then please make it happen. All right, at the top of the mountain here, now into turn number 10, Brave Everett. A mirror just, the Fear the Fun's passenger side mirror just fell off. It just gave up. He didn't even hit a wall. It just quit on him. And now he slides it through the corners, just trying to keep pace with LS Subaru, which is going to be so difficult. LS Subaru went from the very back of the pack, going from 0 to hero here, which is part of the new format, relatively new. It's not new to this season, but it's relatively new here in FM4, where the final race of the season, they just put everybody in reverse grid order based on season points, and in this case, LS Subaru at the top with 297 and the season 45 champion. That's already been decided. Had to go all the way from the back to the front. Has made that happen in about, 6.5 laps? pushing Porsche. Can't wait to see what next season's car is after the race. Yes, the first time we've ever done this here on the broadcast. I blame Slow Motion Fire for withholding the fun of doing this. No, actually, I applaud he and it was probably, I think it was Modern Weapon's idea, actually. Modern Weapon, Slow Motion Fire, Kuda, who has contributed a piece of tonight's reveal. I'm thankful for the opportunity. We'll get to announce the Season 46 vehicle, which means there is no guessing. You don't have to guess what the vehicle is anymore for those who participate in FM4 next season. You used to have to do that in order to get your shot at picking one of the tracks. And oh no, we've got the loading screen here, which is usually not a good sign. That is oftentimes a precursor of a DNF. And Kuda 93, who was running at mid-pack at least the last time I saw, Kuda 93 unfortunately out early in this one, leaving just 13 drivers out on the track. Yeah. All right, so LS Subaru, our race leader here, and was so 6.5 laps in at the beginning of lap number 7, officially started that run of leading the race. And then Fear the Fun in second, Creatrum in third, SFM Darkser in fourth, fifth is Barney Mortismo in sixth, Soul Motion Fire in seventh, Salty in eighth, Modern Weapon in ninth, Audrex in 10th. And I know some of you are looking at that track map in the bottom left corner and you're thinking that, oh my gosh, the race is starting to thin out, cars are going to be all over the track, the amount of competitiveness in this race is going downhill a little bit. Well, yeah, we're going to have drivers scattered all over the track, but based on what we've seen in terms of how much fuel impacts I guess not how much the fuel impacts the vehicle, but how much the driving style of full throttle, pedal to the metal racing, going all out, how much fuel conservation has played into the races here, the first 8 races of this 9-race season, then a lot of things can still happen. We can still see quite a bit of shift in position, not to mention just the error of the drivers, the mistakes, the lapse of judgment, going through the S's of the downhill portion, through the dipper and all that. You collide with a wall and receive damage, then all of a sudden you could very well be adding another pit stop to your day, and all of that will have a significant impact on where these drivers finish out at the end of the race after 39 laps. Let's go back to RZM. Salty Boncos, a name that I have said many a times here, not only on Xventure, but on the formerly known as Virtual Autosports, and prior to that, the Shadow Edge Media. Salty Boncos from Portugal is just, this dude is just a competitor at heart, has shown up so many times to so many races that I can count. I actually can't even count them. There have been so many. But then is a part of so many different series, even though he's in a part of the world that obviously this time of the day is maybe not favorable for him, depending on what his day-to-day schedule looks like. But Salty Boncos always brings a smile to my face when I get the chance to call that name out. Perhaps Salty Boncos will get for an entire FM4 season. Now racing for the RZM team there. Let's go to SFM Darkser. Darkser and Huracan had high hopes for this season. Again, Darkser, who I mentioned earlier, very early on in the season had some issues on the track and with disconnects, and so quickly was removed from championship contention. But SFM Darkser, if he continues his his presence in FM4, then certainly that's a name that we'll want to be looking out for in season 46. Somebody has to dethrone LS Subaru here. History's been made. We got it, Subaru. You're quick. There's got to be somebody else. Pushing Porsche. What would you do, Dustin? Go all out for the whole race and pit 3 times, or be fuel conservative throughout and pit 1 to 2 times? I think just by the nature of my driving style, I would be accidentally saving fuel. If that doesn't speak to the quickness or lack thereof of my racing ability. That's why I'm behind the microphone and not behind the controller, behind the sticks. Not to say that I'm all that great behind the microphone either, but it's the lesser evil of the two. Pit times are only 33.5 seconds long here out at Bathurst, which is actually surprising to me because you do enter ahead of turn number 23, but I don't think the AI takes control until you're a bit deep into the pit entry. So that probably helps, and you can go like full throttle there. I think a lot of people just kind of charge into pit entry, allowing you to save as much time as possible. Let's go to Fear the Fun, who is still not too far behind, although we don't see there in the background LS Subaru there down the Conrad Straight. But Fear the Fun, when he can put together a good race, it is a good race for the Fear the Fun. And this is at least 10 laps in. Yes, we still have 29 more to go, but at this point, Fear the Fun putting in a solid appearance. And one of these days, Fear the Fun is going to carry that momentum into the subsequent season. A long-time competitor here, a veteran would be an understatement. This dude's got all the trappings of somebody who's been not only a racer but helps organize things and helps kind of recruit people, is an ambassador through and through here for FM4. So if you join the Forza Spec Racing Series and you kind of need somebody to help get you on your feet, or on your wheels, I suppose, then reach out to Fear the Fun. Reddit.com/r/FM4. That's where you want to go for all the details. I see we've got a larger audience at this point. If we can get 23 drivers next season, I would be ecstatic. It's always a lot of fun when we've got a full grid, when we've got folks in the chat who are cheering everybody on. It turns Tuesday night into something super special. And I'm not just talking hyperbole there. It really is. We've had some just bang-on moments of excitement here in Season 45. And I know, because I know what the vehicle is for Season 46. I know for Season 46, we've got many more fun, exciting, riveting times ahead here. And I was a fan of LS Subaru because of the quickness, the skill, the talent, but now I'm team everybody else. Hashtag team everybody else. Krejcim coming down there in the Kirby car in third, looking really good. Pointing, you'll notice very subtly that a lot of these drivers who are uber quick through the downhill portion here at Mount Panorama, they're actually getting the front end of the car to rotate over and point into the apex before the car actually even starts to truly turn. It's almost as if they are rotating the car about its midpoint to give themselves the best line through the corner. And Krejcim, I saw a little bit of it there, was able to get that Kirby 695 just rocking and rolling in the right position every time. It's almost like you see it in downhill. I know every time I allude to the downhill portion or reference slalom skiing, whenever we get through the downhill portion of Mount Panorama here, I do that for a reason, because you see that in slalom skiing too, as the skier rotates their skis basically about their heel, or maybe at the center of their foot, And, we've got the drivers slowing down, so it looks like we're going to get a restart here. Kuda93, who went out early in this race, perhaps is going to get a chance to get back in. And so we'll go ahead and take this opportunity to do a brief little pause. A brief pause. Subaru is running 2 seconds per lap quicker at the moment, says Device69. It's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, I saw, and I mentioned how Fear the Fun wasn't that far behind, but with this many laps, like, that lead just continues to grow, and you know, before you know it, we've got a pretty extensive separation between first and second. Instances like this where we're going to go ahead and regroup and get everybody back on the grid for a restart helps close that up a little bit. Also, nobody can do 13 laps on fuel. No way, says SFM Darkser. 12 max. So Darkser refuting a little bit there the notion that 13 laps is the most efficient drive possible that Pushing Porsche suggested. We've seen crazy things here in Season 45. We've seen drivers go the distance where it appeared that there was just no possible way that it couldn't happen, right? It couldn't. It looks like Soul Motion Fire and crew, they're going to take note of where everybody's at, so they're still sitting out there on the track. I'm going to go ahead and run some ads. This isn't because I feel the need to scratch that ad itch for revenue, because I promise you it's not a whole heck of a lot, but what it does allow is anybody else who joins us a little bit later on in the broadcast to avoid those pre-roll ads. So I'm going to take a quick little break here. I'll be back. I'm going to fill up the coffee, and we'll get back to racing here. Forza Spec Racing Series season number 45. Week number 5. It is the finale. Be right back. And welcome back to X Venture here live on Twitch TV. I'm Dustin Moore, and we're at a little bit of an intermission here in the Season 45 finale, an unplanned intermission as they look to get CUDA 93 back on the grid here for the next portion, what remains in the race here. Hopefully this is our only restart of the night. It happens with these longer events as the finale. If somebody drops out early on, not under their own circumstances, then they like to try to get that driver back in to help them finish out the race. And it looks like Slow Motion Fire has everything ready to go. SFM Darkster says, Dustin or not. Well, one, I was taking it as a joke, and two, we were in the middle of an ad break, so I couldn't just strike up an interview if the majority of folks were seeing an ad for the Morbius trailer or whatever the heck is being shown right now here on Twitch. All right, it looks like we're ready to go as Slow Motion Firing Company have everything sorted out. The drivers put into their proper positions to restart the race. LS Subaru is our race leader, be followed by Fear the Fun in P2, and oh well. You see a little bit of a shuffle there in the background. If none of the drivers sustained any damage, we should be good to go. I'm going to go ahead and just say it anyway. Kick the tires, light the fires. We're back underway here at Mount Panorama, Bathurst for the Season 45 finale here in the Abarth 695. It looks like the drivers who were involved in that little tussle there at the start line are unscathed. So everything continues here down Mountain Straight into turn number 2. Here we go. And SFM Darks are now up to 3rd position, getting around Kracham. Kracham was probably one of the drivers who was not all that excited about that restart. Kracham had probably the most to lose there because obviously, Subaru is going to start to peel away from the pack. Fear the Fun will maybe drop back here a couple of spots in the next couple of laps, but Kracham with both SFM Darkser and Salty knocking on the back bumper, that was trouble. Appreciate those who hung out. It looks like everybody stayed put during the ad break. I do thank you for that, because even if you're not a subscriber to the channel, having that follow and sitting through the ads whenever we've got those intermissions does yield the slightest of revenue from Twitch after they take their cut. And like I said, it allows the viewers who join us a little bit later on to allows them to avoid the pre-rolls, those nasty, gnarly pre-rolls that I can't turn off. They just happen. Side by side down the Conrad Straight goes Salty Pacos and SFM Darkster. This is going to be a battle to watch right here. Let me get my replay button finger ready to go, because we might be going to the X Venture Rewind many a times here in the next hour or so that it'll take for us to complete 28 laps now, down to 28, as they had just wrapped up lap number 10 before we took a pause. Here comes SFM Darkster looking to the inside out of Murray's corner. Turn number 23 back up to the start-finish line. Going to be right there on the back bumper. The Tide. And I just add the pods part. Nowhere on the car does it say pods, I don't think. But Tide Pods car there of SFM Darkster, who seems to be sporting, if I'm not mistaken, the Super 8 Motel number board again. I'm pretty sure Darkster took that number board off last week and has thrown it back on. What gives? That's an illegal number board there, Darkster. I will tell you. I will report you. They try to uphold some sense of expectation here in FM4. It is a beer league, as they call it. Really, Racing Clean is the only requirement. Head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4. After this race tonight, I will be announcing the vehicle for Season 46. I'd love to be able to call out your gamer tag here on Xbox, or if you have Forza Motorsport 7 on the PC like I do here, then you could compete as well. It is a cross-platform title between Xbox and PC. And I suspect the next Forza Motorsport title will be the same, at which point, hope to see you then when the new game drops. I'm telling you, the channel is going to blow up a little bit here when the next Forza title is dropped. I can feel it. People are going to be excited about the Forza Motorsport brand again. They're going to be curious to see who's looking to be maybe one of the top drivers in the community, and several of them I'm sure will find their way here, both drivers and viewers, and we're going to have ourselves a, what do they say, a barn burner of a time. It's going to be fun. Here they go through the chase, turn number 20, 21, 22. SFM Darkster there in fourth position behind RZM Salty Boncos, and maybe Darkster a little bit into the grass. Looks like maybe close to 3, possibly even 4 tires there coming into turn number 22, trying to flatten out that corner. Now up to the start-finish line they come. SFM Darkster is kind of spectating as Salty Boncos. I'm by my nature of calling out Salty's gamer tag, I'm saying Salty Boncos. I know it's just as RZM Salty at this point, but RZM Salty now closing in on Fear the Fun here in the battle for second on what is now lap 3 of 28 here. Down that mountain straight. Oh, look at Fear the Fun shaking the back end of the 695 a little bit, perhaps saying, Salty, get off my bumper. And instead, Salty's like, okay, we'll go rocker panel to rocker panel here through turn number 3, up to Susie Q, turn number 4. But Dustin, that's the cutting. That's the cutting. No, DWM Frog, subscriber to the channel, here as part of the subscriber takeover, has renamed that corner. Same goes for this one here, turn number 7. That's going to be Avery Grace. Now they're at the top of Mount Panorama, at least as far as the track is concerned. Now coming up to turn number 10, it's going to be Brave Everett before they go into the downhill slalom out here at Bathurst. Again, it's a nice sunny day, no chance for rain whatsoever. And, oh, those curbs with the short wheelbase and not a very wide vehicle. Those curbs maybe playing a little bit of havoc. There goes Fear the Fun on the back bumper of RZM Salty coming out of the Forest Elbow. RZM Salty keeps the front end of the 695 pointed in the right direction, and down the backstretch they come. Down the Conrad Straight, Fear the Fun, Salty, a battle for second, which was previously occupied by Fear the Fun before Salty took over. And now here they come up to turn number 20. Who's going to have the cojones to keep it pedal to the metal through the corner? The right-hander, lock up the brakes a little bit. Well, try not to lock up the brakes into turn number 21. Part of the chase, and now here comes SFM Darkster, who makes a move around Fear the Fun. So Fear the Fun was trying to vie for second, and as a result, he got stiff-armed there by Salty. And SFM Darkster found a way around, and so it'll be Subaru, Salty, and Darkster. 1, 2, 3. Fear the Fun in 4th, Cratrim in 5th, Mortismo in 6th, Ellis Barney in 7th position, Kuda 93 in 8th, Audrex in 9th, Old Man Baby Body in 10th position. Let's go ahead and drop back to the X-Venture replay here. As we see that one play out, there goes Fear the Fun looking to the inside there of Salty to try to find a route, and Darkster says, I'll take that position. I'll take P3 from you. Thank you very much. Back up the hill they go, lap number 4, which is actually lap, I believe this is 15 overall after the restart. Back through Susie Q, up the hill. Are we having fun? Are we having fun yet? This is mandatory fun on a Tuesday evening. You will love it. You will be back. Now it just sounds like I'm hypnotizing you. You will return. You will be back. DWM Frog chiming in says, great time. We've got a line of cars here. Train of cars coming up to turn 11 and 12. Skyline. Well, Skyline's just before you enter. The name because I believe you could look out over the valley and see the skyline of the nearby town. I think that's where that name comes from. Now, Out at the dipper, turn 15, 16, now 17, and into Forrest's elbow, turn 18. Look out for the wall. Fear the Fun taps it a little bit, giving a nice new little rubber mark there across the Falcon Tire signage. And where they were side by side a lap ago, they're in single file formation. Fear the Fun tried his hardest, but yeah, it's going to be darn near impossible to hold off the likes of Salty and Darkser and even Cratrim. You got drivers there, those three, they're just too darn good. Fear the Fun is a solid driver, a bit inconsistent at times, but to think he'd be able to hold off those three for 23, 22 laps would be one heck of a challenge. Take a look at the fuel situation here. 63% in the fuel tank for Fear the Fun. Pushing Porsche in the chat was saying that drivers, if they're super conservative with their fuel, there goes Fear the Fun, locking up the back tires of the 695. That was quite the entry there into turn number 2, Griffin's Bend. Pushing Porsche in the chat saying that if drivers really conserve their fuel, they could go 13 laps. SFM Darkster saying no way. I guess we'll find out here after that restart what our drivers will be able to manage. Granted, during the restart, that means everybody who's either vying for or trying to hold their position. And so fuel conservation was probably the last thing on their minds. Let's go back to RZM Salty here in second position, going to lead the pack of 3. With Darkster behind him, Cratrim in 4th. Down the hill as LS Subaru establishes that commanding lead here, just 5 laps in after the restart. Make that 4.5. Let's go to slow motion fire in 12th position. Sandwiched between Modern Weapon in 13th. Well, it was Modern Weapon in 13th. Did we just lose another driver? LS Barney. That was the quickest black screen that we've had in quite some time, but that was LS Barney vanishing into the ether here out at Mount Panorama. So we'll see if the organizers decide to go ahead and call another restart here in the next lap or two. Let's go to Cratrim in 4th. Thanks for being here. Dustin Moore on the microphone. Xventure is where you're at in case you just happen to stumble into the channel somehow. Live on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And even though Season 45 comes to a close tonight, I'll be live for the next 3 Tuesdays with Forzatography, or be a better Forzatographer. And that's not just for you, that's for me too, as I try to learn how to be a little bit better of a Forzatographer. I do have quite a bit of experience, so for those of you who maybe are looking for some tips and tricks of how to use the virtual camera there in Forza Horizon 5, come join me a week from tonight and in the next 3 weeks for some photography fun. It will be a nice, relax, chill session as they always are. And even when we get back to racing in 4 weeks' time with Season 46, you can count on this channel for providing you just good old fun. Just it's a relatively mature crowd that we have here. Like, everybody keeps their egos, their attitudes, and their naysaying at the front door, and instead we get out here and we race on Tuesdays. Y'all chat it up in the chat, sometimes more active than other nights. Come on back And if you are having a good old time, click that follow button. Lets me know as the broadcaster here that you do enjoy the content. It'll make it easier for you to find the channel here whenever I do go live, which is Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. And I promise you, when the next Forza Motorsport title comes out, we're gonna have all kinds of fun here. Not that we don't already, but it's just when a new title comes out, a new game, maybe slightly new physics, and just different nuances to sort out. It'll be very fascinating to see how the drivers adjust. Pushing Porsche, what caused the restart? I just got back. Kuda93 disconnected back on lap number 8, I think it was. And so they did a restart, giving us 28 laps here after the restart to complete. And we are currently on lap number 7, just now starting lap number 7. And then I'll go ahead and do my I'll do my little call to the audience here without it seemingly being too obnoxious, I hope. But beyond the follow, if you do give the channel a follow, you get a nice little notification there. I'll say thanks and we'll move on. I won't embarrass you. But if you wish to subscribe to the channel, support the channel just that much more, I'd be greatly appreciated. It helps me out with the production stuff, paying licenses for music. That way the artists are properly compensated for their work, allowing me to play the great music at the beginning and during the intermission and at the closing of the streams. And also for other things here that help the production, like a mic that I picked up a few months back, and any other thing that makes the experience, the viewing experience here, that much better. And then in Season 46, much like I've done here, albeit it was a little bit late in the season, and perhaps that's the reason why we didn't have so many people partake, but in Season 46, I'll open it up again to the subscribers to pick a corner on that final race of Season 46 to rename to their liking within reason. Let's keep it respectful. But if you want to hear me call out what is, I don't even know how to say it right now. Supercalifragilistic. Yeah, please don't pick that one. Obviously, I struggle with that. If you want me to call that one out as a corner, you can make it so. Just another way I try to let those who support the channel have a little extra benefit here, in addition to the ad-free viewing and the emotes. Boom. My shilling for my own channel is done. Here comes Fear the Fun out of Hell Corner, turn number 1. And so it looks like they're going to go ahead and press on here without the further presence of LS Barney, who disconnected about 2 or 3 laps back. Here comes RZM Salty up the hill into turn number 2. Griffin's corner. Griffin's bend, rather. And Cratrium falling back a little bit off of the bumper of Salty. Those two were having quite the race there. And then SFM Darkser, who is currently running in 4th, looking to get around Cratrium for 3rd. Let's go to let's go to Onion with Too Many Eyes right now in 9th position, out in front of Slow Motion Fire, who's in 10th, and Modern Weapon, who is in 11th. We got to get at least one follower of the stream. I need to hear that pit siren. Or actually, it's not the pit siren. I need to hear that air wrench. We've got somebody who's watching right now that's not a follower who, if they click it, will hear that sound. I just like to hear the alert at least once a broadcast. At least once. That's all I'm asking. Please. Onion with Too Many Eyes now up the hill in the yellow livery there. The no-name car. That's apparently a registered trademark there. I don't remember Onion's car having this design in the past. This must be a finale special, which makes me recall Mesosphere. A lot of you know the name Mesosphere. We've seen Mesosphere out here on the track. Also as a participant in some of the races that I used to put on during the virtual Autosport days. But Mesosphere actually had a livery in his participation of FM4 that evolved as the season went on. That's an interesting concept that maybe the organizers can institute for a future season. You got to have a livery that like evolves over the weeks. And I say you have to loosely because really none of the livery requirements in FM4 in this series are true requirements. They're just very strongly recommended. Take SFM Darkser as an example here with the illegitimate number boards. The Super 8 Motel number boards. Even the number 25 that he's got plastered there in the Tide colors, that's not, those aren't authorized either. But hey, it's a beer league. Come out here and have fun. Race within the very reasonable rules, the very reasonable expectations that they have for the drivers here, and you'll be welcomed back week after week. Mortismo in 6th, Kuda93, who rejoined the group, finds himself in 7th, out in front of Odge Rex. Onion with too many eyes still in 9th, Soul Motion Fire still in 10th. Modern Weapon, Patches, Riley, Old Man, Baby Body, and I suspect we're going to start seeing some drivers getting to a point where they have to go into pit lane here pretty soon. I know we're only at lap number 9, at least midway through lap number 9 for a good chunk of our drivers. But again, because this was a restart session, drivers were probably heavy on the throttle and not really conserving much. We may very well see some folks pull in here lap 10, lap 11, and then we'll test that theory that some can go 12 or 13. Although if you're LS Subaru, 1, you've already won the championship here in Season 45, and 2, you know you have to pit anyway, so what's the point of trying not to pit so soon? You might as well, because I'm guessing it's going to come down to one of those things where you could have gone all out, or you could have been very conservative with your fuel and still had the same number of pit stops. Pushing Porsche there in the chat says, I think we're going to start seeing pairings teaming off to push each other up the hill. Okay. We'll see. We shall see. Let's go to 4th with Kratrium, who is trying to find a way around SFM Darkser. Actually, SFM Darkser found a way around Kratrium here for 3rd. And so, hopefully for Kratrium's sake, we can keep SFM Darkser within reach. But as was mentioned in the first stint, just before we had the unplanned restart, and we saw SFM Darkster there getting close up to the wall coming out of turn number 5 there at Quarry Corner. Then through 6 and 7, Avery Grace. One little mistake can really change your position on the track. Unfortunately, because the pack is so scattered about the circuit, if you do make a mistake, you're not likely to cause the big one, so to speak, as they always refer to it in NASCAR, but rather you might just be taking yourself out and causing an extra pit stop. So again, just because where we see the drivers in their current positions, and just because we see them all about the track, don't take that as, oh gosh, this race has no longer become competitive. Pit strategy and the ability to avoid self-imposed damage is going to be the name of the game all the way through to the end here. 28 laps after the restart. That 29th that you see there in the upper left, that's just a cool down lap, so that's not actually a competitive racing lap. Here comes Kracham as SFM Darkster gets off into the grass and just nearly collides with the tire wall. That could have been brutal there, not only for Darkster but Kracham, because Kracham, as Darkster went off into the grass, was already planning his maneuver to go around Darkster. But Darkster, if he lost control, could have easily wiped them both out, and that would have been after turn number 23. That would have been after the pit entrance. That would have been a long drive all the way back to pit lane entry, if they had sustained some damage. Fortunately for them both, no such thing. Did allow SFM Darkster, though, to close in once again. Sees the back end of Cratrim's Kirby liveried 695. I totally have glossed over the fact, or at least glossed over mentioning what we've been racing with here over 9 races that make up season 45. It is the 2016 Abarth 695, 280 horsepower, 275 foot-pounds of torque, 1,923 pounds of vehicle curb weight. That puts it at performance index spectrum, or excuse me, the performance index of B600, which is about midpoint on the Forza Motorsport 7 performance spectrum. At the race air filter, race ignition, race exhaust, sport valves, race engine block, race pistons, street oil and cooling, sport flywheel, race brakes, race springs and dampers. They've got the front and rear anti-roll bars of the race variety, race chassis reinforcement, and the roll cage, as you can see there through the window. As a matter of fact, all vehicles here in the Forza Spec Racing Series get the roll cage treatment. Race weight reduction, again bringing them down to that 1,923, and here we go. The pit stops are happening. RZM Salty Bonkos, even our race leader LS Subaru is in, Kratrim is in, and Darkster 1 through 4, and I'm guessing that's going to be followed by Fear the Fun. Yes, Fear the Fun now entering pit lane. Martismo in 6th position, likely to go in as well. Kuda, Audrex in 7th and 8th, Onion with Too Many Eyes in 9th, and Slow Motion Fire in 10th. I'm guessing, oh, and there you go. There's the Fun AI. Those aren't the drivers causing that carnage there in pit lane. That's the AI doing that. You guys let me know what you think there in the chat, but I sure hope that at the very least in the next Forza Motorsport title, that organizers are given the option to enable driver-controlled pit stops. And then also given the option to do like a ghosted situation so that you don't have to avoid the cars necessarily in pit lane, that you can get to your pit box without like having to do 90-degree turns and all that because maybe somebody's right in front of you or whatever the case may be. But at least a little bit more options to make the pit lane a little bit more strategy-based. And then certainly the ability to determine how much fuel and what tires you get, because this may very well be a scenario where drivers would love to keep the same tires and just get a full tank of fuel. Back to the rundown here of the vehicle setup: sport transmission, street driveline, race differential, sport tire compounds. They are 245s, 30s wrapped around 18-inch rims, and those are ADV1 NV2 SCs. And then they've got the race front bumper and the race rear wing on there, allowing them to make adjustments to aero. Yes, it is a spec league. That's why all the things that I just rattled off, each car has them fitted. Those upgrades that are adjustable or tunable here in Forza Motorsport 7, you certainly can tune them to your liking, even if you aren't the best of tuners and could use a little bit of help in getting the car set up in a competitive way. If you race here with the FM4 crew, I guarantee you'll find somebody who will help you out, either provide you a tune as a base for you to work off of, or they'll give you one and you can tell them, you know, what your driving style is like or what you're looking for, and they'll just give you one that you can use and work with. you won't be left high and dry is basically the way to put it. If tuning is not your skill set, it's not a part of your toolkit, as I raise my hand, although you can't see it, then don't worry. That won't keep you from being competitive. I promise. Here the fun now across the line, falling a little bit behind, further behind, fourth of SFM Darkster and Krachim. Krachim again, who moved up into P3 after Darkster got a little bit carried away. Ran wide out of turn number 23, Murray's corner, about 2 laps ago. Let's give a little bit of camera time here to our race leader, LS Subaru, doing his thing here, coming into turn number 10, Brave Everett, out of Salomon Park, down the hill into Skyline here as you look over the edge, and boom, there you go. There's a look down into the valley below. Then into 12, 13, 14, known as the S's, into the Dipper, into 15, then 16, which is this left-hander, then 17, the final right-hander, before you hit Forest Elbow, which takes you out onto Conrad Straight toward the chase. Pushing Porsche, by the way, says the skilled drivers, I bet, we'll see doing even 14 laps before pitting. So not only is Pushing Porsche thinking, no, Darkster, you got it all wrong, but is willing to wager that there might even be a 14th lap in there. Again, I'm guessing that LS Subaru knows that he can make this a fun and enjoyable ride without having to worry about the fuel gauge, and therefore could be just pushing the engine for all its horsepower's worth, and not necessarily concerning himself with, well, I better save some here, better save some there, because I'm gonna guess at this point, whether you conserve or whether you go all out, it's going to be the same number of stops in total. Let's go to Audrex, who is again, one of these drivers that I've called his name out more than most. Super consistent here at FM4. Was a staunch supporter of some of the events that I put on. And here comes Audrex back into pit lane. Wow. So did Audrex just push, or excuse me, just prove pushing Porsche correct? I mean, granted, this is the start of lap 14, so that wasn't 14 laps in total. That was 13 laps in total there for Audrex. But with 9% in the fuel tank, if Audrex had just saved a little bit more, could he made it that 14th lap? That's incredible. That's the best fuel economy that we've seen here of the 695 out at Mount Panorama. But yes, Audrex, very, very skilled, very consistent, causes little to no trouble for anybody else out on the track. He's just always runs his line, is aware of his ability compared to some of the quicker drivers, and so doesn't give anybody any heart attacks or heartache out on the circuit. We go back to we're here with the Kratrium Kirby car once again. Let's go to Fear the Fun, who now entering turn number 16 and 17 is trying to close that gap on Darkster a little bit. Oh, there you go. Get the front wheel drive 695 to spin the front tires there with the 280 horsepower. Where Tismo, 6th position, now hitting the Conrad Straight. Is that Conrad? Like, is Conrad dedicated to somebody, or is that referring to Conrad as in the motor piece? Like, the Conrad. Admittedly, I don't know the history of that, or the reasoning for the naming. There goes. It looked like Martismo was maybe going into turn number 30, turn 23 a little bit hot. Was at the middle line, not down low, not too high either, but seemed to be treading in that direction. And because we were riding on board, I couldn't tell, but maybe locked up the brakes a little bit. Audrex in 7th. We were watching there just a moment ago in that chalk livery vehicle after taking the pit stop there at the beginning of lap 14. Kuda 93, who had to rejoin the action here in the Oreo car, currently sees himself in 8th position. Yes, I know some people can make the argument that because Kuda 93 disconnected inadvertently, accidentally, or not by his own doing, that he's a few laps down, but the nature of this league, that's not how they see it. You get back, once they get you back out here for a restart, you've basically recouped those laps. We got a nice battle here for 9th position. It's between Onion with Too Many Eyes and Slow Motion Fire, who finds himself here on the low end of the top 10. And actually, Onion now drops back with the Canada flag above the gamer tag. And to turn number 4, Susie Q, named by DWM Frog, subscriber to the channel. Up the hill, turn 5, turn 6, quarry corner, underneath the Fujitsu air conditioning sign. I could use a little AC right now. It's a little warm under the lights and with my coat on. That's actually not too bad. Not too bad. Had the windows open before a cold front blew in here this evening and really was kicking up the winds. And then at that point, everything was blowing around the house, so I had to close that up. But not a bad day here, as the weather starts to warm up here in central Colorado. Wherever you are, hopefully you're having a good week. And hopefully these frames will come back sooner rather than later. Frames, what happened? Get these intermittent frame drops every once in a while. Thanks, Xfinity. Thank you. Streaming at you at a beautiful 6,000 kilobits per second when they are streaming at 6,000 kilobits per second. Nice 1080p, 60 frames per second here for you. Trying to keep it nice and smooth, nice and clean. Whether you're watching on a large screen TV, maybe your computer monitor, or on a handheld mobile device. Slow Motion Fire having a little bit of troubles coming through the chase there, 21 and 22, and gives up position to Onion with Too Many Eyes. Oh no, and here we go. You guys know what this means. Yeah, we had somebody DNF. I didn't catch the gamer tag. We already lost LS Barney. And now we've lost Old Man Baby Body, who was up there in 10th, I believe, at one point. Maybe fell back a little bit, but that's too bad. It's too bad to have what is now 2 drivers out of the race here in the Season 45 finale. Side by side, Slow Motion Fire and Onion with Too Many Eyes. Slow Motion Fire maybe giving a little wiggle there to Onion, just to kind of psych him out a little bit, coming down the mountain straight out of Griffin's Bend there, turn number 2, and then into 3 and 4. Again, it's Susie Q. You know it as the Cutting. We've changed the name up. Bouncing off the wall there is Onion Too Many Eyes, and now into turn 7, A.B. Grace. That little bend right there. It's easy to see it with the concrete barrier. Not so easy if you just look at the track. It just kind of looks like a slight little curve, and really that's all it is. Now turn number 10, Brave Everett, as they show how brave they are coming up here the Skyline and turn 11 and 12 to initiate the slalom, the downhill. Pushing Porsche earlier saying that, or was it Devise? It was Devise 69, I think, who was saying that you like the skiing analogy because Devise is a ski instructor. You know, Devise, since I moved here to Colorado last summer, I really don't have any motivation to go skiing. Just seems too risky for me at this juncture in my life. I did the risk assessment, and I'm not willing to accept the risk. And the chase once again here for the 17th time after the restart. Maybe one day. Maybe one day I'll succumb to the pressure that I'm now a Coloridian and must be like the Coloridians. Must do like the Coloridians. SFM Darkser and Fear the Fun here, 4th and 5th. Oh, Fear, hold on to it. Looked like he was going to go over into the wall. Tries to... Yeah, it looks like he had to slow down considerably there to get the car all settled down, and bashing the walls a couple of times there. If only the texture that resembles the scratches on your car, if only they could just continue to layer on, Fear the Fun would have a far less of a paint job on that thing, at least far less of a recognizable paint job than he has right now. Trying to find every inch through those corners to make time. And as a result, may be paying for it. There, as he slides the back end out, the vehicle just completely lost traction there. Perhaps got a little bit of air underneath the tires there through turn number 21. And had him sliding out a little bit. DWM Frog, go only on the bunny hill. You'll be safe. Yeah, I'm not even certain of that. LS Subaru is our leader. RZM Salty in second. Krejcim in third. Our SFM Darkser. Here comes Fear the Fun as Darkser has a mistake there in Hill Corner. And so Fear the Fun, at least for now, moves up to P3. Way to keep with it there for Fear the Fun. I mean, for a lot of drivers, it would be easy to be discouraged. You were the race leader very early on. Granted, that's only because of the reverse grid ordering. And then once the drivers with the most amount of points here in the season caught up at the front, it was inevitable that they were going to get around. But here's Fear the Fun, and actually Fear the Fun in P4, not in P3. I take that back, as these two are battling for P4 because P3 belongs to Krejcim. Yeah, I don't even know about the bunny hill. I just kind of like looking at the mountain with the snow. I haven't found yet a need for me to be on that mountain. Trying to go down. Always a nice little sight to see these two, well, any two cars battling it through this part. It's some of the better camera work here of Forza Motorsport 7. Hopefully in the future iteration we'll have several cameras that it'll kind of mix it up a la Gran Turismo. That's the one thing that I will, at least these days, will give kudos to Gran Turismo over Forza is its presentation quality and value. Quite a few notches above we're making do here in FM7, which is quite old at this point in comparison to its elder siblings, which usually the life cycle of those titles, at least the active life cycle, they are always available for you to go back to and enjoy. But here they go into turn number 1. It's going to be SFM Darkser, the Tide car down low, Fear the Fun on the outside, and the Alitalia 695, and Fear the Fun just drops back to 5th as Darkser has regained P4. But yeah, it's just
we'll see. I mean, if esports is a priority for Forza Motorsport moving forward, which we kind of got a hint at that with the Forza Racing Championship, which is kind of dissolved or at least fizzled out for now. But if that revives itself, or if Turn 10 revives it. Oh, Darkser with yet another mistake there. Coming out of turn number 4, Suzy Q hits the wall on the right side and like a pinball bounces off onto the wall on the left side, and actually might have done that just to save Fear the Fun. Darkser, as experienced as he is, knows that Fear the Fun is going to be carrying speed on the racing line up that hill and would have very little time to react. And so Darkser may have purposefully pushed himself out onto the outer wall just to give Fear the Fun the space, knowing that, well, as we see here, that Darkser would have the speed to catch back up. As we go back to it here on the... Well, I was a little late on pressing the button, I think. No, yeah, I was. They're already getting through the S's here. And now here comes Darkser, really close there on the back bumper of... Or excuse me, Fear the Fun close on the back bumper of Darkser going into turn 21. A lot of trust between both the drivers there. Darkser hoping that Fear the Fun's not going to give him a shove there from behind, and similarly Fear the Fun hoping that Darkser's not going to hit the brakes harder than usual, so that they can maintain that pace through the middle portion of the chase. Let's see, where can we go now? Let's go to... As our race leader LS Subaru gets around a little bit of the back traffic. We'll go take a look at that here shortly. But let's jump back to 7th position. Audrex is going to get by Mortismo, who's pulled it into pit lane. Audrex with 50% left in the fuel tank. Mortismo apparently needing some fuel. That or had some damage to the vehicle. Let me quickly jump up to Darkser here, who's in 4th and is showing 29% left in the fuel tank. So this is going to be interesting as drivers opt for different times to go into pit lane, whether out of necessity or just of choice, and what that will do to their overall standing. And so with that decision there by Mortismo, that battle for 7th well, actually it was a battle for 6th, because Mortismo, and actually there goes SFM Darkser again, having all kinds of trouble, and had to lock up the brakes. SFM Darkser again saved Fear the Fun. A lot of drivers, if they bounce off the wall, they may just hold onto the throttle and just say, you know what, let me just try to make the most of this. And as a result, could cause problems for some of the other drivers going through that section with them. In this case, SFM Darkser very smart, very aware that, hey, there's a lot of racing left to go. Let me not ruin this race for Fear the Fun, and just hit the brakes. Kept from running into Fear the Fun, which would have, without a doubt, I almost am certain of it, would have pushed Fear the Fun into the wall and probably would have resulted in some damage. SFM Darkser just showing his smarts out here on the track, which goes a long way in these community-run leagues. You could try to be as competitive as you wish, and you know, your livelihood and the livelihood of others is not at risk here in the virtual world of racing. So a lot of times, that's why I was saying a lot of drivers would just go ahead and say, you know what, I'm bouncing off the wall. I'm just going to hold onto the throttle and see if I can fix it. And that can be a very stubborn decision, a very costly decision for not only them, but any of their closest competitors. Fear the Fun opting not to be that driver. I say Fear the Fun. Dark Sir. Ugh. Hanging out here with Onion Too Many Eyes, and you see Onion with Too Many Eyes, like I said, I think has a different livery here for the finale, but what hasn't changed is he's got the pi symbol there in the on the number board. 3.14, yada, 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 yada. That's Onion Too Many Eyes' number. DWM Frog knew what I meant. At least you did. Others might be thinking, what is this guy talking about? Saying the wrong names. And so now Darkser on that mad dash to catch back up. The P4. Let's go up to our racing driver. Not our racing driver. They're all racing drivers. Let's go up to our race leader, LS Subaru. You see the Australian flag there. 14% in the fuel tank right now. Tire degradation has not been a concern at all. The fuel tank will deplete itself before you even notice that there is any tire wear whatsoever, which is kind of unfortunate. You know, I really wish if the simulation is turned on, simulation damage, which includes fuel and tires, I would think that the tire wear would be a lot more significant than what it is here. I mean, 13 laps, possibly even 14, as pushing Porsche suggested in there in the chat. That many laps in between pit stops, I would think there would be a bit more tire wear than what the game suggests. Sport tires, sport tire compound, so a little bit softer of a tire, but with as many corners, 23 here out at Mount Panorama, and with as quickly as you're moving down the straights and then have to slow down for the chase and then do the same down the mountain straight going into turn number 2, Griffin's Bend. With as much acceleration, deceleration, and then cornering, I would think that the tire wear would be a little bit more in play here, but it's not. And that's really kind of representative of a lot of the seasons here in FM4. Very rarely, very, very rarely do we get a car that chews through its tires. The one that does come to mind that some of the drivers have reminded me of include the VW Scirocco, the newer model, as a front-wheel drive car, and the way that they had it configured here in FM4, as our race leader LS Subaru is in the pit lane. Yes, Subaru is in the pit lane. That vehicle had tire issues. It's kind of like how I wish it were. A little bit more strategy, I think, is basically what I'm saying here. A lot more strategy would be exciting to see. The Abarth 695 has provided that in pretty ample quantities. Fuel was a... oh, there goes Modern Weapons spinning around right in front of our race leader. Luckily, he did not collect LS Subaru. Subaru probably just on his normal, his usual Sunday drive here, and said, "Oh, look at that, a car spinning around." Devise 69. I'd contemplate getting involved if it were real-wheel drive and running at the GMT time zone too. I hear you. I understand it doesn't work for everybody's schedules. I mean, I think here at least stateside, those who are on the Pacific time zone Starting the races at 5 o'clock is a bit of a challenge for those who are getting out at that time of day. And then, of course, by the time they commute home, we've already run one complete race. So it doesn't work for everybody, but if you do have the time here on Tuesdays, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern to do about 2 hours of racing. Actually, it's just shy of 2 hours. We're normally done in about an hour and 45, an hour and 50. If you've got that time and you want to compete in some community-based racing that doesn't take itself too seriously, but takes itself seriously enough that the racing is clean, it is fun, it is enjoyable, then make sure you go over to reddit.com/r/FM4. I'm going to reveal the vehicle here for Season 46 after this race. And then I suggest you quickly make up your mind, because if it is as popular as I hope it will be, sometimes I get a little bit too worked up and it doesn't pan out the way I expect it to. But if it does pick up steam a little bit better than some seasons, it could be a scenario where the point at which you register dictates whether or not you'll have a grid spot come week number 1. Oh, SFM Darkster says, rolled it, got stuck at Skyline, rip. And yes, SFM Darkster is out of the race. Rolled it at Skyline. That's no easy task. With race suspension, I mean, it is a short wheelbase, slightly top-heavy car. But Darkster, we saw you were definitely challenging yourself there in multiple situations. Here's Kratcham in 3rd. We've got Salty, who's getting around lap traffic, in 2nd. Here the fun now running solo in 4th. Audrex has now moved up to 5th, which is great because Audrex was back there a bit. Now, granted, with SFM Darkster going out, by default he moves up a spot. But I think 7th to maybe 10th is where Audrex has been for the majority of the race. And now with about 4.5, we'll actually make that 3.5 remaining in what was a 39 lap race. We had a restart, an unplanned restart, and now we're finishing up the back half of 28. That 29th lap will just be a cool-down lap. You finally bit it too hard and overcorrected, yeah. Your car was so unstable. Oh, we saw. Let's go back to the Xventure Rewind here, where Modern Weapon actually got turned around in front of LS Subaru, our race leader. I was going to come to this a little bit sooner, but after the developments there of Darkster letting us know in the chat, I put it off for a little bit. But here comes Modern Weapon, and then you'll see here entering turn number 2. Looks like he locks up the brakes, perhaps gets over into the grass or the curbing, hits the wall, spins around, and on by goes Subaru. Subaru didn't even have to let up on the throttle at all. Cuda 93, Muertismo, a battle for 6th. The legend of the shoe continues. Glory or death. Well, hopefully we'll see you there for Season 46, Darkster. Darkster, if you all don't know, is one of the organizers there, as part of the Online Racing Association, otherwise known as TORA here in the Forza community. And TORA is very much alive and well, so if you're curious about the ongoings of that, I was going to say league, but really they have multiple things going on. They've got an endurance series, they've got Suzuka Open, as Darkster is mentioning there in the chat, all kinds of stuff. Head on over to racetora.com. I'm really a fan. If you ask me, not that I'm really anybody here in the Forza community. I've just been around a long time, but I'm not, not beyond that, I carry no other credentials. But if you ask me, Tora and FM4 are going to be the two of the best, if not the best, community-based, community-run leagues and series in the community. And while they kind of sit on opposite sides. Oh, and there goes Muertismo. As turn number 2 here, Griffin's Bend proving to be a little bit of a challenge for a few of our drivers. And Muertismo now losing sight of 6th position, Cuda 93. Fortunately for Muertismo, no damage to the car. And so we'll carry on. But while Race Tour is a bit more organized in that, you know, there's some of the more stricter and more stringent rules, and the races are maybe a little bit more involved. Although some of them aren't. Like, some of them are very accommodating that you can just sign up for and participate in with not having to invest a lot of time. And then there are others that do have a bit more involved in how you participate. They really are, you know, very complementary to each other. You can come here to the Forza Spec Racing Series, really try out your skills and put your talent to the test against some of the best drivers in the community, and then you could take that experience and development and training over to Race Tora, and then you're really putting it to the test, because then you've got a larger contingent of some of Forza's top drivers. The two really work hand in hand. Even though the relationship there is maybe not so obvious, there's really no strong tie between the two in terms of organization and affiliation, but it's a great way for you to really get the best out of multiplayer, online, organized motorsports. Just going to put it that way. At least here in the world of Forza Motorsport 7. Device says, I'm a typical arrive and drive. I just drive. And you can. Like, I mean, we talk about tuning. We talk about the upgrades that are involved here in the Spec series. But you can take it as serious or not as serious as you wish, as long as you race clean. That's the only caveat, and that's not really even a caveat. That's just kind of a very bare minimum expectation in racing, is that you race clean. Old Man Baby Body says, damn internet cut out. Well, welcome back, Baby Body. You've been gone for a while, and so if you're saying that the internet just came back, sorry to hear that. Here we see LS Subaru, our race leader, getting around. Now, I say back markers, but I mean, we're talking our top 10 drivers here. Slow Motion Fire in 8th, Onion with Too Many Eyes in 9th. And not too far behind is RZM Salty. I would love to see Salty put together a full FM4 season. Gracham in 3rd, Fear the Fun in 4th, Audrex in 5th, Cuda 93 in 6th, Muertismo trying to catch back up with Cuda after an incident a few laps ago in 7th. Like I just mentioned, Slow Motion Fire in 8th, Onion Too Many Eyes in 9th, Patches Riley in 10th, Modern Weapon in 11th position. And sadly, we've lost 3 drivers here in this race. There goes LS Subaru just carving the corners. It's like watching somebody just ever so proficiently carve a pumpkin. That's how well Subaru cuts down through the S's and the Dipper here out at Mount Panorama. All I know is that front-wheel drive is not for my driving style. Yeah. I mean, the good thing about the FM4 series is that they mix it up from season to season. Yes, you drive the same car for 9 races, 5 Tuesdays in a row. That's what consists of a season here in FM4. But then those 5 weeks go by so quickly, at least for me. Granted, I'm not behind the wheel. I'm just spectating, so maybe that makes it go by a lot smoother for me. But then, after a season has concluded, they wipe the slate clean in terms of points, and you start anew with a different vehicle. And maybe that vehicle will be more to your liking. Maybe that vehicle will be more fitting, better suited for your driving style. I say you never know what to expect, except for you do. You know the format. The format is pretty easy to understand here at FM4. It's just the beauty of the rate at which the seasons go by. New car, try it out again. You see yourself improving over time. And then, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, try to make it your goal to be on the top 20. The top 20 is what I put up on the leaderboard here during the broadcast. Call out your name. We see you on the track. And then you have a good time. In the worst of situations, racing here in FM4 on Tuesdays makes your Tuesday go by like that and go into Wednesday. Because what else are Tuesday evenings good for, right? What else are they good for? Nothing. There ain't nothing. Nothing going on. All right, here comes LS Subaru, who's already received the white flag here. Lap number 28. This is where it will come to an end here. Season 45. Already our champion and the first ever Forza Spec Racing Series 4-time in a row season champion is LS Subaru. Somebody has to put an end to this. I see the audience that has joined us here at the end of the broadcast. Put your skills to the test. I implore you to show up here in Season 46 and see if you could put Subaru a notch down, maybe even 2 or 3 notches down on the overall leaderboard. We need a new champion. We need a new champion. Out of Murray's corner, turn number 23, and across the line, LS Subaru picks up the win here. Mount Panorama Bathurst. Race number 9, season 45. RZM Salty Boncos unable to perform a full season here in FM4, but with a very admirable P2. And not too incredibly far behind. In third position will be Cratrium. DWM Frog there with the GOAT. The GOAT emo, yeah. It's, I think Subaru's definitely earned it. Oh, here comes Cratrium. He's just going to creep across the line. Come on, Kirby! Come on, Kirby! He's not out of fuel, is he? There's no way. Yeah, he's got 49% in the tank. He's not out of fuel. Fear the Fun looks to grab 4th. And actually may get P3 here if Cratrium is going to... No, actually, yeah, Cratrium... I think Cratrium did come across the line before Fear the Fun. And then 5th will belong to Audrex. 6th goes to Kuda, unless Mortismo makes some last lap heroics happen here, coming up to the chase. And for Mortismo, just not able to keep pace with Kuda after that mistake a few laps back. And so Kuda will finish 6th. Mortismo here underneath the Armor All Bridge. Final time, past the grandstand into turn number 23. Will finish in 7th. 8th belongs to Slow Motion Fire. 9th is Onion Too Many Eyes. Patches Riley gets into the top 10. Modern Weapon in 11th. And unfortunately, we have the disconnects there of LS Barney. SFM Darkser. Actually, SFM Darkser flipped his Abarth 695 and voluntarily removed himself from the race. And then Old Man Baby Body all with the DNFs here at the end of this one. Don't go anywhere, folks, because when we come back, we're going to talk to some of our drivers in the driver's spotlight. And for the first time ever here on Xventure at the conclusion of a season, I'll be revealing what is the next vehicle that will be raced. You're not going to want to miss this. It is a little baffling and at the same time, very, very exciting. Short little break here. Get to hear some music. For those who are not subscribers to the channel, yes, there will be some ads, but I promise you're not going to miss a thing. We'll be right back. You're watching the conclusion here, Season 45, Forza Spec Racing Series, live on Xventure, Twitch TV. I'm Dustin Moore. Oh yeah, SFM Darkser with the Prime subscription, 3 months. Make those emotes dance there. Thank you, SFM Darkser. Much appreciated. Well, thanks to SFM Darkser subscribing with Twitch Prime there in the middle of the intermission. Thank you so much for that support there, Darkser. For those who are subs, got to hear the pit siren. So we got one audible alert here during today's broadcast. That's all I was hoping for. That was the benchmark for me. I'm Dustin Moore, and we have wrapped up Season 45, Forza Spec Racing Series. The championship was already decided. LS Subaru, the four-time champion, back-to-back four-time champion, I should say. Nobody else in FM4's history after 45 seasons has been able to accomplish that feat. So a little bit of history made here in the season. Let's see. We've got all kinds of folks there throwing the emotes there in the chat as they were bouncing around on the screen during the intermission. I take a look over at the driver spotlight, and we've got inevitably some drivers who are going to be lining up to chat with us here. After we get done talking with the drivers, we will reveal the vehicle for Season 46. Now joining me in the driver spotlight, SDR Onion, Too Many Eyes. Onion, I think it was what, 7th or 8th position there for you? I lost count after you guys kind of went all over the place.
It's P9, I think.
P9?
Just behind Slow.
Okay, behind Slow. There was a little bit of battling going on back there for the top 10. Was that the case for you, or were you pretty secure in your spot in the top 10?
Yeah, I was just kind of chilling out. I got to battling with Slow a little bit.
Yeah.
I just hit too many walls. It's just no other way to put it.
39 laps is not the most strenuous race that you could possibly have at Mount Panorama Bathurst. Obviously, we've seen the real world drivers do 12 hours out there at the endurance events that are hosted at Bathurst, but 39 is a pretty good chunk. So what was it? Was it just a lapse of judgment, lapse of concentration, didn't have the right vehicle set up? What was it that had you kind of scraping up the paint job there in your 695?
Just a little bit overconfident in some of the corners. Just, I could take a little bit extra speed here and wall.
A little bit of extra speed that you were hoping for, and then found yourself in the wall. I think a few other drivers would be able to attest to the same. Overall, now that we've done 9 races here, the 695 is going into the archives for the Forza Spec Racing Series. What would you kind of rate this season for you, both in your performance and then, of course, in your experience with the car here all throughout?
Oh, I love the car. The car is great. I'll definitely be using this one again in B-class hoppers and such if I ever do those. My performance, I didn't really attend too many rounds, just this round and the first round.
Yeah.
But I ran into a bunch of bad luck as well in some of the races.
A little bit of bad luck. Wasn't able to race the entire season. You entered week number 5 with 72 points there in the top 20, so you got at least that much accomplished. But what do you think for season 46? Going to try to make a full season out of it, or is it just one of these things where you race as much as you can?
I'm going to try and get to every race next season. I'm looking forward to driving the limo.
What?
I'm calling it.
You're calling it. You think you know the answer, huh?
I'm calling it.
Okay, we'll see. I think you're wrong.
You looked a little surprised there, Dustin.
Well, yeah, because you don't
get it?
You don't get the honors here, SDR Onion. Yours truly gets the honors of revealing the vehicle for season 46. It's not the limo. It's not the limo. I'm sure. Tell us a little bit about this. I've heard drivers say this before. You just mentioned it, that you'd like to make more use of this vehicle because now that you've had a chance to drive it here in B class, that there's an option for you to maybe take it into the multiplayer lobbies elsewhere, perhaps the hoppers. Is it because you had never really driven the 695 before, or you just never gave it a fair shake? Or maybe it's because just now you've really found a tune that works for it. What kind of spurs you to be like, oh, this is a pretty good car now?
Yeah, I'm usually pretty bad at tuning, so I tend to only tune cars that I really, really enjoy driving. Like from stock. If I enjoy driving it from stock, I'll tune it up. But this car, I'm not a huge fan of it from stock, but with the guys in here like CT and Subaru and Fear and putting their tunes out, I get a lot of different numbers that I can go try and dial the car in a lot better and get it to more to where I like it.
Yeah, talking with SDR Onion here, Too Many Eyes in the chat at the conclusion of season 45. You mentioned just exactly what I shared with the viewers not too long ago, in that even if you aren't the best of tuners or even a tuner at all, even if tuning is just well beyond the scope of your capabilities, you've got folks who are more than willing to go out of their way and help you out. And so who have you kind of gravitated more toward in terms of tunes that perhaps is best for your driving style? Is there anybody who's like a really good companion in terms of that tune should work for me?
Previous seasons it's been Fear, but his tune this season was a little sketchy, so I've been running CTs. But usually Fear's tunes I mesh really well with.
A little sketch there. Fear the Fun's 695 tune here in season 45. All right, well, we hope to see you back out there on the track a little bit more here this coming season. Of course, we've got 4 weeks now between this and the next one to kind of kick back and relax a little bit. How much effort and time do you put into maybe the off season stuff? Or I think you said that you're more into just showing up and driving, right?
Yeah, just come out here, have a good time. I didn't put any effort into the paint this season, but I'll try next season. The limo's a big canvas, so I got to think of something.
It's not the limo. It's going to be a smaller canvas. I don't know what plans you have for the limo, but you try to squish that into a smaller car. Yeah, the no name with the registered trademark, that's not going to fly next year. I'm not going to let you do that.
Unfortunately, it is a real brand. You can Google them. You can buy
Is
their
it?
stuff in Canada. Yeah.
Okay.
I've
Fair
got
enough.
some no-name brand tomato soup downstairs.
All right, so you get under the radar this time around. We'll see. Maybe depending on what Slow Motion Firing Company put as the theme for season 46, that may no longer be applicable. SDR Onion, any shout-outs that you got here for the end of season 45?
Shout out to the limo for being next season's car.
Just somebody ban him for thinking that he knows what the vehicle for season 40. Just ban him now. You're not allowed to race for another 5 seasons. You get to ride the pine here in FM4. Let's go to the continuing here in the driver's spotlight. Fear the Fun. Not a bad race for you at all. I think it was 4th, right, that you finished, or was it 5th?
It was 4th, sir. 4th.
Yeah. I mean, you jumped out to the top spot very early on in the race before we had the unplanned restart. Obviously, I think those drivers who were high up on the leaderboard and had to start at the back of the pack, they were going to catch up to you either way, but to be able to hold on to it all the way to the end for 4th position, that's very commendable. Good stuff. Maybe your best performance in the 695 all season?
You know, I was almost had a what was that, a podium
Yeah.
at Laguna Seca before I DC'd with like 2 laps to go.
Yeah.
So I guess I think I've had maybe 1 or 2 other 4ths, or I don't know. I don't know. It's a good result for me anyways. I jumped up 3 spots in the championship points.
You talked about
5th overall.
5th overall. Nice. Top 5. Very good. You talk about disconnects. Same happened for, well, a voluntary disconnect here for your closest competitor of the race, SFM Darkster. You guys were kind of going back and forth for a good chunk of that second stint. Call it now. Who would have finished in 4th if Darkster was still out there?
Oh, Darkster would have had it. He got
No, come on. That was your chance.
No, literally, I got smited by the Forza gods because I went into the pits with him in front of him, and then I came out 4 seconds behind him because my drivatar decided to hit the brake, then the gas, then the brake, then the gas like 15 times.
Yeah.
I lost 4 seconds in the pits.
Yeah. Well, hey, you gotta blame your co-driver then. It's your fault. You haven't recruited a good co-driver for pit lane.
You know, if Turn 10's going to get some strongly worded letters from me, I'll tell you what.
Don't do it. They'll ban you, and then you won't be able to race.
It's not going to be the first time they banned me. I got banned for pushing people off the track, not ramming, pushing.
Fear the Fun here in the driver's spotlight. Always providing a good chuckle here. Yeah, you had a chance there to say that you would have finished out in 4th in front of Darkster anyway. He was struggling down the what I'm calling the slalom. I know it's officially known as the S's and then the dipper down into Forrest's elbow. I think maybe a few times I saw that you were scraping the corners, but all in all, through the S's, how were you feeling?
I'm good at this track. I think I've always been good at this track. So, I mean, other than like I would 2-wheel, I think coming over the top of the hill, I don't know what that's called, that corner is.
Yeah.
But the one where you come down and it's like that right-hander into the sweeping left into the hard right again.
Yeah.
Like coming over the top of the hill right there, I would come up on 2 wheels if I didn't hit it just right. But when I did, you know, I hit it pretty good. And I had a lot of time made up there.
Talking with Fear the Fun here in the driver's spotlight. Season 45 has come to an end. I mean, you're a long-time competitor here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Things have changed up a little bit, so no longer does the champion get to pick the vehicle, which probably at this point, with LS Subaru having won 4 in a row, everybody's like, okay, good. At least he doesn't get to pick the car. is there any other kind of ideas that you guys are floating just to kind of get a feel for like maybe how things are evolving in FM4? Anything else that you guys are trying to or maybe looking at going into season 46?
There is, but I can't say anything about it right now because it's not my place. You'd have to ask either Modern or Slow because I don't want to say something and be like, yeah, he's not telling the truth or something like that. I don't want to be that guy.
Well,
Also,
yeah.
I hope it's Audi.
You hope it's what?
The Audi.
Yeah, Onion thinks he knows what the answer is. I don't know why Onion feels like he's got the intel of what season 46 is going to be all about. This is crazy. But I'm calling for at least a season-long ban.
Season long. I mean, I don't know if I can facilitate that. Maybe give him like a 3-position grid penalty every race for a season.
I kid. We want all the racers that we could possibly get. I want to see a 23 car grid, even if it doesn't last the entire season. At the very least, just for week number 1, a 23 car grid. So take all the drivers we can get. I just won't put the camera on him. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It'd be nice to have a good 23 field class, I guess. Game's 4 years old now, and the new one should be coming out this year. Yeah. But we might not find out as early as we would usually because they usually have E3 in about early June.
Yeah.
But they've canceled E3 for this year. There's not a digital one. There's not a one in real life. So whenever there's going to be an Xbox showcase, it could be January. It could be June. It could be July. It could even be August if they want to.
Yeah. It's something obviously to be aware of for anybody who's on the lookout for the latest news in the Forza Motorsport franchise. But you mentioned that the Xbox Showcase, that could certainly be a thing that still is in place of E3. And then there's Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest, I think is what it's called. I think that's the reason E3 has really stepped back is that, one, there was some controversy around the E3 in its past, but then also Jeff Keighley has just really got things figured out in terms of bringing a good like video game show without all the pomp and circumstance of a full-blown physical event at those big conventions. Times have changed. They just look different.
I think it's just more COVID, more people not wanting to get in big groups and whatnot. I mean, either way, I don't care. I just want to see what the next game is, what the next iteration is. I'm ready for a new one.
I think we all are. We're all very excited. If Turn 10 is getting it right, then so be it. But I know a lot of people are getting a bit antsy at this point. And, of course, the more news that we have, the more excitement we can start building toward that date. And I'm guessing we're going to have like crazy amount of turnout for FM4. Of course, that all depends on how quickly everything's able to get stood up. People have got to earn credits so that people have cars in the garage. So that's another thing to consider. Fear the Fun, any shout outs here at the end of season 45?
I just want to say congrats, Kuda, by losing 1 point to me. It was a great time for me. I came back, after 2 disconnects in the past few weeks. I came back, had a strong finish at the last one. I got you by one point. 1 point. That's all I needed. 1 point.
There we go. That's the kind of friendly banter we like to hear. You can race in FM4 and you can talk a little bit of trash. They're game for it.
Absolutely, it happens to me all day, and I'm one of the leaders of this thing.
There you go.
They give me a title called Moderator. Like ain't nobody else got that except for Foontang, CT, and Slipstream.
Oh man, Beer, always great chatting with you. Well done again on another season, well assembled between you, Slow Motion Fire, Modern Weapon, and looking forward to season 46.
Congrats on another season of broadcasting for us. I hope to see you back next season.
Oh, I'll be there. I will be there. Fear the fun, everybody. And yes, I think next season, if I know how to count correctly, I think is my 18th season commentating for FM4. So something to celebrate there for at least me. Speaking of celebrating, the driver who has made history here in FM4, the first driver to go back-to-back, 4-time champion, dating back to season 42, now here in season 45. LS Subaru joins us in the driver's spotlight. What do you have to say for yourself?
Yeah, I'm just very happy that I've achieved such a feat. I'm hoping that I don't know. I guess it's just cool to be in this sort of position. yeah, not much else to say after that.
AMS Huracan, who was a pretty active participant here, looks to maybe finish second, possibly falling down a little bit if the points work out right. May drop down a little bit after not participating here in week number 5, but try to give you a run for your money. It happened a couple of races, mainly because of fuel, and then SF and Darkster, certainly a strong competitor. Kratstrom tries to keep pace where he can. And then Salty Bonkos, who we saw hadn't raced all throughout season 45, but had a pretty good pace going for himself. I don't know if your plans are to race in season 46, but is there a driver that you foresee coming up and maybe snagging one from you and keep you from winning 5 in a row?
Well, I'll most likely be participating in season 46.
Okay.
As to if anyone else is gonna, if there's anyone else in mind that might challenge me for the championship, I don't know. I don't know who else outside of who participated this season would be interested in signing up. But signing up's always it's always a good thing. It's open for everyone for all skill levels. But yeah, if it's the same people as last season, then I won't be surprised that Kratstrom, Darkser, and Huracan, or even Salty will challenge me for next season.
No doubt, and I hope it happens. I mean, kudos to you for all your success over the last 4 seasons. Certainly, we like to see like that battle for the top spot. You know, that's what a lot of the viewers are looking for. Do you take offense to the fact that FM4 they've relinquished or they pulled back their privilege to you as the champion here in season 45 to pick the car for season 46 and instead put it up for a vote amongst all the racers?
Nah, I'm alright with it. It was like I understand why they made that decision, but I did get a message at the end of week 4 saying that apparently there is still a reward for me for winning the season.
Okay.
That not even I still don't know what the reward is, so I'll
Okay.
have to wait to be told what that reward is.
They're holding back on that one to maybe tell you a little bit later on, maybe as we get closer to season 46. LS Subaru here, again, 4-time champion, 4 times in a row champion. No other driver in FM4 has been able to accomplish that. And then everybody is at the mercy of what vehicle the community, the FM4 community, picked as the vehicle, as opposed to years past or seasons past where the champion selects the car. LS Subaru, what vehicle would give you the most fits going into season 46? What is not like part of your repertoire or something that you really like driving?
I don't think there's a vehicle that I'm particularly bad at driving. Like I like to drive pretty much. I like to put every car in the game to as much use as I can, because I like a good variety. I like to be good at everything that I drive. So I'll just have to say which of the 2 cars or 3 cars I think gets chosen for season 46.
And we'll have that announcement here shortly. I see Slow Motion Fire up next, so perhaps your benefit, whatever that is right around the corner here. At least we'll understand what that is. Maybe Slow Motion Fire is still going to keep that under wraps for the time being. But LS Subaru, any shout outs you want to give maybe to your LS brethren who raced here in FM4 or just everybody at large?
Shout out to LS as a whole. Shout out to Hydra. Shout out to I guess that's pretty much it, I guess. Yeah, just shout out to those people. Yeah. I don't have many people to shout out, but those are probably the biggest ones.
All right. Very good. Well, Subaru, I mean, what else can we say? But job well done here for the 4th season in a row. Going to continue with that crown and see if maybe somebody can dethrone you in season 46. Look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you.
There you go. And now Mitchin was in the queue there. Slow Motion Fire in the driver's spotlight. Slow Motion Fire, before we talk about your race, Subaru mentioning that he's still got a perk coming his way for finishing as the champion. Any insights into what that is?
Not yet, because I still don't know what the car is. So kind of some of what we're doing next season is going to come down to which car got voted. Obviously, if the limo wins, there's going to need to be some design work done there to ensure that we can fit 20 of those on the tracks that we end up running.
Yeah, I mean, what is this? What is Onion like? Who does Onion think he is? He got some like inside scoop or something. There's got to be you give a reward to Subaru, and we got to find a punishment for Onion.
They might be the same thing.
They could be one and the same. Fair enough. Fair enough. You had a pretty exciting race here in the finale out at Bathurst. The top 10 was kind of really the hotly contested area. I mean, there wasn't a lot of shifting in the top 3, but same can't be said from 8th on back to 10th. You guys kind of split up there at the end. I wasn't able to take count, but I think you were 9th? 8th? 8th. Yeah, that's right. In front of Onion.
Onion. Yeah, Onion and I had a pretty good battle there after the caution flag.
Okay.
So that, yeah. I kind of wish the race would have went the whole way, because I wanted to see what was going to play out with fuel strategy, because I think there's going to be a couple people trying different things there, but we had the caution, and that kind of changed it up, and then Modern threw a wrench in the works when he crashed at the top of the hill, and that kind of changed up our pit strategy for us. So
yeah. That's how sometimes these things happen, even in the real world, where if there was that yellow flag, or in the case here tonight, the unplanned restart, that takes that original fuel strategy and throws it right out the window, and everybody starts anew. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm really curious, man. I wish all the vehicles either had the tire degradation or the fuel. I know I've been saying this all throughout the season, and some of the drivers have been like, nah, Dustin, that's not really what lends to the best racing out there on the track, but a little bit more strategy was exciting. We'll see if that continues into season 46.
yeah, this was fun this season. I enjoyed it. I don't know that I'd want to do it every season, but to shake it up and have a different challenge, it was something you had to think about every week.
Yeah. All right, Soul Motion Fire. So we've got a little bit more folks than perhaps usual at this time of the broadcast, at the very end of the broadcast, especially at the end of the season. Perhaps some of those folks waiting to see what the season 46 vehicle is going to be. How do we get ourselves a 23-car grid here going into the next one?
Well, there's probably one car on the list that might do it, but I think all three are good choices, so we'll see what comes up.
Evil MRXS there in the chat says 77 Trans Am, hoping is the vehicle. We'll see. Soul Motion Fire, wonderful job here. Again, much to what I was saying there to Fear the Fun earlier. Well done with putting together this season. I'm liking the kind of the evolution of things, how you guys are changing it up a little bit to keep everybody on their toes. As we saw yet another season where at the finale, it's reverse grid order. I think that's has proven to be interesting at the very least. Even though those drivers at the back of the pack still make their way to the front, it's at least exciting to see them make their way up there. Any other things that you guys are considering for FM4 here moving forward?
There's nothing major in the works right now. This race tonight kind of saw the evolution of the reverse grid. We had a timed roll-off delay there, which I think started the race a little bit cleaner than we've seen the past couple seasons with the reverse grid. There wasn't quite the rush to beat everybody into turn one, so we'll probably continue with that going forward.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll see. Next season, we got a little bit different planning with the tracks, but like I said, that's kind of dependent on which car wins tonight. So all that'll be announced in the weeks going forward here as we start laying out season 46.
And if all my dreams and wishes come true, in that there are those folks clamoring for a spot in the 23-car grid, when can they expect, now that there's not kind of the guessing game in terms of the car, and then maybe the track selection is a little bit different this time around, when can folks expect to see registration and details about the vehicle open up here in the Reddit, the subreddit for FM4?
Registration always goes live an hour before the Gap Week Fun Night racing.
Okay.
And that should be, I believe that'll be the 19th, because next week will be an off week, and then the gap week will be the 19th.
There you go. So head on over. Nightbot has the link for you there in the chat. Reddit.com/r/FM4. Poke in there. Say hello to everybody. Let them know that you're interested in participating, and that way they've kind of got you on their mind. And then when registration does open up, make sure that you go ahead and take that action so that if it is, in fact, kind of a scramble for a grid spot there in week number 1, that you can kind of confirm yourself one or guarantee yourself one, if at all possible. Slow Motion Fire, we ready to reveal the car for Season 46 or what?
I'm ready if you are, Dustin.
All right, let's go ahead and do it. I appreciate Kuda93 who's put together a nice little graphic here for us. I just thought of when we were getting through intermission there after the race had concluded, we need a drum roll emote. Put a drum that just rolls. I know it's a silly joke, but you know what? We need a drum roll, so I'll work on that emote. That being said, we've got the graphic here that is going to tell us what the vehicle is for Season 46. Nobody here that I've talked to at all in the driver spotlight had any clue of what vehicle is about to be revealed. Not a single driver. There it is. It is. It is, in fact. All right, Onion. You got it correct. I think Onion was just having a good guess, though. Not really knowing, but just had a good guess. It is the Cadillac XTS Limousine. It is a limousine. Now, FM4 has been pretty reliable in knowing that each season, from season to season, that you're going to have a vehicle that can, in many different situations that you could probably fathom, be a car that is competitive by itself or amongst itself with others on the track. This is a car where I don't know that anybody can truly say that the XTS is a competitive vehicle, a limousine, but when you pair the talent, the skill, and the fun that ultimately will ensue here in Season 46, well, it's going to be a good one. And I promise you, it's not going to be the demolition derby that many may predict. While there will be some door bashing, some panel bashing, there will be some bumping. Rubbing is racing, right? While there will be some of that, it's going to be a very interesting and I think maybe a memorable season for many reasons, but mostly because we're probably going to see some things that you were like, wow, they've been able to do that with a limo? Tunes? Driving strategy? I don't know. I have no clue what will happen with tire degradation, fuel depletion in this vehicle. I don't know that anybody knows until the setup has been set up and everybody gets a chance to try it out on the track. This is not. Yes, this is maybe the meme car of the Forza Motorsport roster, but again, don't think that this is going to be like a demolition derby style season. This is going to be maybe one of the more well put together racing series that you've seen that may have included a limousine. Like, I don't know. The FM4 may be setting the bar here with this vehicle. We've used the limousine here on this channel as a vehicle for kind of fun events, the figure eight out at the Top Gear test track. But this is going to be true to form racing, competitive racing. Can LS Subaru take the limousine to another championship, to a fifth straight championship, or will somebody else put an end to it? I'm staying right here until the frames come back. I know you all can't tell because, well, it's just a static frame image here, but we were losing frames. I think we're back now. I'm excited. It's different. It is different. It was unexpected. I can't say that I would have ever thought that the Forza Spec Racing Series would use the limo, but here we are. Season 46 in 4 weeks' time, right here on XVenture. Get ready to sign up. Get ready to be a part of what will probably be. We've got to get this thing like spotlighted by Turn 10, at least on their social channels or something. Like nobody's gonna have racing like this. At least not that they have video record of. Somebody may have raced limos, not broadcast, not streamed, and sure, they may have had a good time with it, but here on XVenture, it's going to be something else. Season 46 coming here in the beginning of May 3rd, I think is what it's going to be, unless Slow Motion Fire tells us otherwise. Man, the frames have just dropped out. They've given up. They're ready for the broadcast to be ended. Let's see. Taking a look here at the chat. DWM Frog says, LOL, classiest season ever. Yes, that's what they've dubbed it. Cadillac XTS Limo, our classiest season ever. I'm going to have to get like the fake tuxedo shirt. That's what I'm going to need to pick up. SDR Onion with too many eyes says, this season will be goated. Slow Motion Fire giving kudos there to Kuda for the splash screen. There it is. Oh, that's not the splash screen. That's the limo there in the game. There we go. There's Kuda's splash screen. Very well done. Devise69 says, cannot DoorDash with that. Oh, you watch. Tactical overtaking for the win. Mega blocks. This will be a 100-meter sprint in clown outfits. Limo Sween says Patches Riley. Mortismo says ha ha. Hot mess coming says Old Man Baby Body. Gumby GT says yay. And then DWM Frog earlier when it was revealed saying this is going to be a wild season. All the reason more not to miss a single race of it. Green to checker coverage. 5 weeks, 9 races coming up. The Limo XTS. It's going to be a lot of fun. What else did I have here before we wrap things up? Oh, yes, I did want to share that I will be, again, not concluding. I will not be concluding Forza-related activity here on the stream while FM4 is in its off-season period, but rather I'll be bringing back the Be a Better Forzatographer stream. Same time, same channel, 8 p.m. Eastern, next Tuesday, then the following Tuesday, then the one after that. 3 Tuesdays in a row. Forza Horizon 5. Going to be sharing my tips and tricks for taking great photos in game. And then, of course, I fully welcome y'all to do the same. What is going on? What is this? Oh, gosh, the bots. The bots are probably stealing the frames. That's what's happening. The bots are taking the frames. All right. That does it for me. We've gone well beyond. I'm just rambling at this point. Thanks to all the followers, the subscribers that we've had here in Season 45. Again, in Season 46, I will be bringing back the benefit that as a subscriber to the channel, you can name a corner in that final race, that endurance race at the end, race number 9. So be on the lookout for that. If you haven't yet clicked the follow button, please do. That way you could find the channel a little bit easier in the future whenever I do go live on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. My next stream will be this Friday at approximately 7 p.m. Eastern Time for High Flying Friday. Be jumping into Microsoft Flight Simulator with my brand new Velocity 1 yoke from Turtle Beach. That's going to be a lot of fun. So come hang out with me for that if you can. Otherwise, look to see you maybe on Sunday for SnowRunner Sunday, which kicks off at 9 a.m. Eastern Time for a few hours there. SnowRunner. I've been making a lot of great progress in that game, so hopefully you could join me for that. And then again, a week from tonight, Forzatography stream in Forza Horizon 5. I think next season is my 18th season in the Forza Spec Racing Series, or at least covering the Forza Spec Racing Series. So hopefully you'll join me then. Until next time here on Xventure, y'all be happy, stay healthy, and we're going to close out with a little Dear Friends and Gentle Hearts. Roy Williams here going to take us into the what is legitimately the end of the broadcast here for season 45. Have a wonderful week. Adios. Farewell. Good night.
Oh, Susanna, don't cry for me. We had some good years, so let me be. The world goes on, I sang my song, I gave my own true love for you to see. Oh, Susanna, don't you cry. Hold the tears back and dry your eyes. What's this life without a sweet goodbye? And though it's over, take this letter for when the nights grow colder. Dear friends and gentle hearts, the time has come to part. The jig is up now, so lay me down. So when the world gets dark, know I loved you from the start. Listen to the words I sang to you. The son of America, a Pennsylvania child. They say the day I was born was the 4th day of July. My mother's love and my father's pride. But the hard times would come again. Out on the Bowery was the very end. Dear friends and gentle hearts, the time has come to part. The jig is up now, so lay me down. So when the world gets dark, know I loved you from the start. Listen to the words I sang to you. Never been to Alabama, never seen Louisiana, never lived in old Kentucky. I ain't never been so lucky. Song about the Southland from a Yankee Doodle dandy man. That's America, America. Oh, Susanna, don't cry for me. Read this letter and take the time you need. Dear friends and gentle hearts, the time has come to part. The jig is up now, so lay me down. So when the world gets dark, know I loved you from the start. Listen to the words I sang to you. Listen to the words I sang to you.